What's up, guys? We are back with another Masters of the Universe review, and this is another Mondo review. So of course we're talking 1/6 scale stuff. This is the Halloween figure that went up kind of outside of the normal release schedule, something a little bit special, something that I absolutely had to get a hold of. We are of course talking about Scareglow. So we've got him here, we've got him right now. He of course comes in the standard kind of slipcover package that all the villains have. So of course the Snake Mountain motif, you've got the snake wrapping around the box, all of that green and purple detail, and then the back has the face on it. So I mean, the slipcover artwork is fantastic. It's pretty much a hallmark of the line at this point because there's only one hero so far. So we've got a lot of Snake Mountain slipcovers in this house. Inside of that though, you've got the actual inner box, and you've got Scareglow in all of his glory in a nice green color scheme. And then the back of the package has a full shot of that artwork, but done up in full color, showing Scareglow as glowy as possible without actually being glowing. Of course, just like the rest of the figures in the line, this is a magnetically sealed box, so you can pop the flap open there. You've got the Grayskull kind of insignia on the inside, and then there you go, you've got the figure in that big window. Just tremendous presentation. He looks pretty amazing so far. I'm really excited to take a look at this guy. So as usual, as much as it pains me to pull this out of this amazing box, because frankly they look great in their packaging, we've got to do it. So let's pull them out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our 1/6 scale Mondo Scareglow. So this is a figure, a character that I knew as soon as he was going to be in this line, I knew I had to have him. I mean, it's Scareglow. He's a fan favorite character for a number of reasons. Arguably the best of which is that he is a glow-in-the-dark skeleton man, and you really can't go wrong there. As far as this particular figure goes, if you're familiar with other stuff in this line, then you're really not going to be surprised when it comes to articulation or how he moves or really how he's built. Because just like in the vintage line and just like really Motu in general, this guy is built off the same kind of body that we've been seeing so far. At least for now, they're on that same kind of body. So let's take a look at how he moves around just for the uninitiated here. And to start with, you've got a head that can look up pretty far. As far as this one goes, he looks up pretty good. He goes down a good bit. You've got tilt side to side, and you've got full rotation. His jaw is articulated as well, so you've got that action going on. Arms go out at the shoulder. They rotate up there as well. You do have a bicep swivel. Nothing get in the way, no hindrances there. You've got a single rotating elbow, give you about 90 degrees. You've got a very nicely ratcheted ball hinge. So full movement there, nothing getting in the way, and then you've got rotation. As far as the torso goes, you have got a diaphragm cut, but it's mostly just a twist. This particular figure, though, I worry that we're going to see some paint rub, and honestly, I've kind of seen paint rub on my figure already. So, you know, buyer beware on that, watch that. It's a really tight cut in here, so you're not going to get too far as far as tilt or anything like that, but he'll do it. You've got a waist twist down there as well, and it's a ball peg up into the body, so he does have a little bobble and side-to-side action as well. Down below, we have got legs that go out about that far. You pull them a little bit tight, you can get them to go pretty far. They kick forward about 90 degrees, and then they kick backward a little bit as well, probably more than you would expect. You can, of course, rotate at that thigh. You've got double jointed knees here. These are kind of unique knees as far as just most stuff that I'm familiar with. They rotate at the top. They rotate at the bottom as well. So you've got double rotating, double jointed knee, and then you've got a ball hinge down at those ankles, so forward, backward, rock side to side, and then of course you've got full rotation there. So he does move around pretty well. I don't have too many issues with his overall movement or just how he can be articulated, how he can be posed. Again, if you're familiar with the rest of this line, then you're pretty much par for the course when it comes to how this guy's going to fit into your lineup so far. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, the aesthetics, this guy doesn't have a lot of new ground to really cover, because if you're familiar with the line, then you know exactly what you're getting, because he is on the same kind of body. The interesting thing right out of the gate, though, is that he is not wearing any kind of loincloth piece. This guy goes back to just the fur undies that are underneath what the other figures come with. So He-Man, Skeletor, Faker, they've all got that vintage style of look down at the crotch, and Scareglow also has it. Scareglow, of course, also has Skeletor style boots down below, which are done up in purple with some metallic silver accents, and then he's got the demon style feet, which work really well. Very much fits the idea here. But of course, the big thing is just the idea of the figure, the idea of the character and how it's implemented as far as the color scheme, because he is essentially, at his base, just a big black body. And then they do have some various methods to implement the glow-in-the-dark feature. And we'll talk about that, and I'll kind of show you what it does here shortly. But the hands and the feet are translucent plastic that is glow-in-the-dark material, and then they have the black painted on. The rest of the figure is the black body with all of the glow-in-the-dark pieces painted on top of it. And that's what I was talking about when it comes to the diaphragm cut, because those pieces do rub together, and they are so close that you could potentially see some paint rub when it comes to moving this apart, because the ribs are all painted, all of the bones up and down the arms and legs are painted, and then of course he's also got a lot of paint work on the back as well, tons of it actually, in one spot, probably more there than any other spot on the figure. And for the most part, I do think it's pretty good. The outline is pretty solid and crisp. I do, however, have some spots that were missed as far as kind of the glow-in-the-dark overspray, because the actual bone color is one thing, but then there's the glow-in-the-dark, I'm assuming it's a glow-in-the-dark top coat that actually makes it glow. So there's some spots that you'll see that definitely don't glow correctly, I suppose is the best way to say that. I do think, just at a base level, that he looks awesome though. I mean, this is exactly what I was expecting to see when it comes to a Scareglow in this line. Something big and beefy and kind of larger than life and slightly more terrifying than normal, just based on what they do to kind of, you know, pump them up a little bit more. What's really cool about this figure though, outside of the head, which we'll talk about in just a second, is this cape. So it is of course soft goods, and it's done up in kind of like a metallic purple underside here, and then you've got a slightly less metallic-y, almost velvety looking cape on the backside. It does have a wire down on the bottom, so you can pose it and mold it, and it holds itself pretty well. I've had no real issues with keeping it outstretched a little bit more, or just making it kind of flow a little bit better. And then it also has wires in these two pieces up here on the collar to help the collar actually stand up a little bit better, and you've got a metal chain that runs down. I'm still not the biggest experienced person when it comes to wired capes. I have very few of them, but I do enjoy them when they're implemented well, like this one, because it does work quite well for me, because the wires that run down the sides and then all the bottom, it just helps to keep it in place, helps to give it a little bit more life, and it makes him look a little bit more imposing than if he was just there without it, because frankly he doesn't look half as cool when he doesn't have his cape on. And then we come to this head sculpt, which is, I mean, frankly, it is, outside of the fact that he's a big skeleton man that glows in the dark, this is the big thing that draws me in with this figure. Just the striking nature of the very bone-looking paint job that they've given him. The articulated jaw works really well, and then you've got those deep-seated red eyes. Of course, the crack that runs down the skull is really nicely done. Everything about just the anatomy of this skull works very nicely, and I think it looks really good on this guy. It's very more realistic than your average Scareglow style figure might be, and he looks really imposing, really evil, just plain up terrifying. Now, as far as the glowing aspect of this figure goes, here he is with some black lights. So we've got the lights out. We're getting spooky down in here, and got a black light out to show you what I'm talking about. So you can see that the head is kind of dry brushed with the glow-in-the-dark paint, and some of it was kind of missed over here along his face. That doesn't bother me too much. It kind of just makes it look a little bit more menacing to me. But there's a little swipe right here on his chest that was missed, so you can see there's a little spot which doesn't glow, which is definitely a negative for me. The hands and the feet, again, are glow-in-the-dark plastic, so they do kind of glow a little bit more brightly just based on the whole situation there. And then I do have a little bit more of an issue down here on his left leg, your right, where he's missing some at the top and there. For the most part though, outside of that, he is nicely done, and he does glow really brilliantly once you've actually got him kind of charged up, you know, get him sat under some light for a while, or just like I'm doing here, just hit him with the black light, and then he will just sort of light up like an evil Christmas tree. And it does stay for a little while. It's glow in the dark stuff. It's gonna fade. If you want to really do it, you gotta play with it, charge him up, get him to go, and then, but I mean, realistically, right there, he looked pretty evil and glowy to me. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy comes with a standard assortment, so there is no extra thing that you're getting with this one like the other figures. So this is exclusive to Mondo only. There is no regular version, so if you have it, you have all the stuff, you're not missing anything. So with this guy, you've got a set of extra gripping hands. Again, more glow-in-the-dark plastic with paint over top. And then you've got a set of Style Pose spellcasting style hands. We saw these with Skeletor. We've got a set of bone swords here, which I think are just great. The idea of having this guy dual-wielding swords is really, really doing it for me. We've got something that is, kind of an Easter eggy type of thing, something that we saw in the Classics line, like kind of his Reliquary of Souls type of thing, where you can shackle him to the canister here with the Castle Grayskull on top. So you pop the hand off, put this around his wrist. Little Grayskull looks really, really good here. You can pop that apart, and then you can put the key to Castle Grayskull inside, which I think is a great idea. So just pop that in there, and there you go, and you can lock him to the key to Castle Grayskull. But the big thing for this guy, literally and figuratively, is his scythe. And this thing is absolutely massive. It is incredibly large. There is a tremendous amount of detail on it. You've got two different handles for a dual-handled grip, because he really does need to hold it with two hands. The design on this thing is entirely new, entirely different, but incredibly cool. Very, very happy with how this turned out. I think this is a great example of Mondo kind of changing things up just enough where it's really familiar, but at the same time, it's kind of its own thing. And then lastly, you've got one of the standard Mondo style stands here, so you can pop him up, make sure he doesn't take a tumble off your shelf. So overall, I do like this guy quite a bit. I will say that maybe at a base level, it would have been really, really cool if the figure himself was translucent plastic with black over top of him. I'm not entirely sure how feasible that is or isn't at this scale. I do think it works pretty well here, what they did. Of course, I do have a few paint flubs on top of that, though. The look, I think they got down 100%. The accessories are crazy, especially that scythe. And then, of course, the key to Castle Grayskull, I think, is a really cool touch. I love the head sculpt that they gave this guy, and I really like that cape. The whole package, taken as a whole, is a really solid set. I think they did a good job kind of bringing Scareglow into this design style and this line. He definitely looks great next to Skeletor, next to Faker, and I mean, at the end of the day, I would have been kicking myself if I didn't buy this figure, because it's Scareglow, and I think he translates really, really well just into this format at a base level. Who doesn't want a big glow-in-the-dark skeleton? I mean, come on, he practically sells himself. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mondo Toys 1/6 scale Scareglow. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.